Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Focus. Ladies and gentlemen, we have in the studio Mr. Vance Wyatt, and he's been with us before, and he is a person that you should know. Good morning, Mr. Wyatt.
Good morning, Dr. Brooks. Thank you for having me.
We're happy that you've taken time from your busy schedule to be with us this Sunday morning. It's 5 a.m., so I don't know how many people are up at 5 a.m. again listening to the program, but still we have quite a huge audience.
That's great.
And we, first of all, we like to give an update and reflections on your career. You have a very interesting career. You have a career that's, well, I'll let you talk about it, though.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Brooks.
Well, tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So my name is Vance Wyatt for everyone. I'm a second-generation North Chicago graduate.
Mm-hmm.
After graduating from high school, I went off to college, got my undergrad degree from National Louis University.
Mm-hmm.
In the midst of getting my college degree or my undergrad degree, I went and decided to run for alderman and got thoroughly defeated. And then I ran again right before my graduation for my undergrad degree for park commissioner. Was defeated again, unfortunately.
What was it? It was just that they figured you were too young?
Yeah, I was 20 when I first ran for
And you were
alderman.
highly educated.
Yeah, I was in college studying, and then the second time I was just about to graduate from undergrad from National Louis, and then when I ran the third time for park commissioner again, I was elected by 2 votes. And then after being on the park board, I was appointed to the Lake County board, served there for a year and a half. I ran in the primary. Unfortunately, I was unsuccessful in that race, but I was just reelected last year for park commissioner, going back to the Falls Park District Board of Commissioners, and now I've been there for about 8 months now, 8 to 10 months roughly. So I'm enjoying it, being back to a certain point. I get new gray hairs now. That's the only downside to being back. But
you mentioned about the trustee is for the North Chicago Library Board.
Yes.
That was quite an honor there.
Absolutely. It was truly an honor. I actually spent a lot of time when I was a child at the North Chicago Library. I was able to see the library start from when I first got on the board, where we didn't have a lot of technology there, to where it is today, where we have a sound studio, so we can actually shoot your radio show right there in the home of the library. We have a STEM lab there as well. We have new community rooms. We have a business center that's named after my predecessor on the county board, Miss Audrey Nixon.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different enhancements there. We have ebooks now, video games that you can check out. There's a lot of different services like Mango Languages included, where you can learn 77 different languages at the comfort of your home. And all you need is a free library card from the city library, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a hookup with other libraries in the system?
So we have. While I was serving there, we had something called North Suburban Library System, which was an old system where it was pretty much Lake County and Northern Cook and a little bit of McHenry County. Due to the state's financial issues, the state decided to consolidate all of the library systems around the state. There were about 50 to 60 from what I remember, down to 3. So there's Rails, which is reaching across Illinois Library System, which is the northern half of the state. So everything north of I-80 is in Rails. Everything south of there is considered what's called Heartland Library System. And then Chicago Public Library is its own system. So it's a city system library in a sense.
Mm-hmm. I have to congratulate the board, too. At one time, there was a regular change in head of library, but you, the last librarian, you've had several years now.
Yes. And my entire 6 years serving on the board, and she started off as our children's librarian. So when I was a kid going to the library, she was my children's librarian. So she could tell some very embarrassing stories from my childhood. So
right. Well, what piqued your interest in public service?
Actually, when I was, as I said, I ran for alderman when I was when I was off to college.
Yeah.
So I went to college right during the midst of the Great Recession, and I just saw economic development happening on the south and west side of Chicago, where my school is, and come home on the weekends, and I would see nothing here. So I decided to run for alderman. trying to bring some economic development to the community. But unfortunately, I wasn't successful in that particular race. But being on the county board, I did learn a lot and was able to bring some money back to the community. So within my time being on the county board, bringing over $75 million back to the district as a whole. One project which is being worked on right now is 14th Street being redeveloped. We have the old Marion Jones project, which is also being redone. That's $40 million on its own. That was before me. That was with Commissioner Nixon. But at least the project for the actual road, which if anyone lives in North Chicago, you know 14th Street has been tore up since I was a child. So that right there was one big accomplishment I felt that I could actually do something that has been an issue since I was a child to actually try to get completed. The roundabout and the North Chicago side of the street has been completed. The Waukegan Street portion will be completed this coming year after they do their water main repairs that they need to do.
And Audrey Nixon, the late Audrey Nixon, smiling in her grave now. She worked so hard. Well, one thing was the Greenbelt Culture Center.
Absolutely.
While she's on the county board. And the 14th Street will be forever in the memories of people,
Yep. And it will be named after Audrey Nixon. Both the city of North Chicago, Waukegan, and the county of Lake adopted resolutions to honor Audrey and name it Audrey Nixon Boulevard. So it will always be named after her. We are at the Park District. We're potentially going to have a park along 14th Street, which I would like to see it named after Audrey Nixon once the street name has been changed as well. So that's something I am working on. We're in the process of trying to decide when we're going to tear down this facility, our old facility that we own, and then do something with the property. So it wouldn't be a full-on park, but it would be a kind of like a sitting park. So something like when you're out walking, it's actually on Park Avenue, which is down the street from my grandmother's house. So I think of her when she would go for her walks. If she wanted to take a stop and just take a breather, I think that would be something that would be fitting for Miss Nixon and giving back to the community.
That's a great accomplishment. We talk about the accomplishments that you've during your young career. Now this park would be, you say, near Park Avenue, right?
Yeah, Park and 14. So it was the old Dr. Lee's office.
Yes.
Originally, the Park District acquired the property to turn it into an administration building.
Okay.
Once I left and went to the county board, the board at the time decided that they no longer wanted to do it because of the cost to actually repair it.
Okay.
Part of that is because of construction costs have gone up, along with a number of different other complications with the property. So what we're currently in the process of doing is it's up for sale for 6 months. It's been over those 6 months now. So the board has the right to tear it down. So we're going to go through our budget cycle right now. Since this is February, the new budget will start May 1st. We'll be putting the money in the budget to tear it down. Once it's torn down, then we would try to turn it into what's called a sitting park, where it's not any playground equipment. There may be a grill there, some tables, along with some benches as well. So my thought process behind it, since it's going to be named after Audrey Nixon, the street itself, what's more fitting to name it after Audrey as well. So.
Fantastic. Tell us about, on the Park District, family is so important. It's important that the parents get involved with their children to be a successful. How responsive have your parents been?
So we have a few. So I'll use the football program as an example, which we did get a lot of heat from this year. Or this past year due to...
Is that when you call the Flames?
The Flames football, yes.
Okay.
So we have a number of parents that really do get involved. They're great. They come to all the football games. They put money into the program beyond just what their kids' program fees portion is. They're always there, like I said, for every practice, giving the kids fruits, vegetables, water while they're practicing, so they're staying hydrated, they're staying healthy, they're eating healthy. Okay. But we do have some parents that don't get involved as often, and unfortunately, that's not just systemic to our Flames football program, but that's systemic throughout the entire community. Even when I was at the library, we had to introduce a policy where we would not allow parents just to drop off their kids if they're under a certain age. Okay. If they were under a certain age, they had to be in there with an older relative, so either older brother and sister, or their parent had to be in there as well. Because sometimes we do have that issue, and I understand because our type of community that we have, where they, they may be working for whatever reason on the weekend or late at night. Like my mom, when I was a kid, she worked night shifts, so she was not always available to come to different things. But we're trying to accommodate for everyone. That's why with our latchkey program, as an example, we do open at 5 a.m. and we stay open until 6 o'clock for that program. But the district itself is open till 8 because we sometimes have parents for 1 or 2 kids that may have to stay a little bit later because they have such a late shift.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking with Commissioner Vance Wyatt, the Falls Park Commissioner, and he is reflecting on his young career, the accomplishments that he's made, and in different areas, the county board and the library, and he's still anxious to continue to get involved in making North Chicago what it should be. What about the lakefront? Is there any possibilities or any planning to develop the lakefront? I mentioned lakefront. It runs all the way, I guess, Chicago all the way to Wisconsin, I guess, but we have here North Chicago, Waukegan, and Zion.
Yeah.
Is there any talk about regional planning or something for that area?
I like to split it up in 2 different time periods. So when I first served on the county or on the park board before I went to the county board, President Trump at the time had cut the Great Lakes shoreline preservation fund. So there wasn't as much money being put into the Great Lakes from the federal government. So a lot of those funds or costs fell on the park district, cities, or whatever government agency that's maintaining the shorefront, the lakefront for them. In our respect for North Chicago and Falls Park District specifically, we did have a plan prior to, I think it was adopted back in 2015 when I first got on the board, to do a $6 million remodel for the entire park down there, which is called Falls Park. The beach portion itself, which was about $700,000. Due to certain things with climate change, as an example, we've had an increase in the amount of water in the lake. So the lake is about 6 to 7 feet taller than it normally is, which means most of the beach has started to be eroded now, where we're now going to have to spend additional funds to do more dredging, to do more shoring up of our shoreline. So that's going to increase our project from about that $700,000 to over $1 million roughly. Wow. So it's an increase of about $400,000. We were trying to get creative working with the city to help transport sand from Waukegan. We're still waiting for Army Corps of Engineering approval for that at the federal level. I've met with State Representative Bob Morgan, Rita Mayfield about this project because they represent two different sides of that property. Yeah. So making sure that they're available, know about it, and also going after different grants. The park district is planning on going after some grants to get the sand portion. If we can get the sand for free with the Army Corps of Engineers approval, that will reduce the cost of the project. But again, it's all dependent on what money is available to the park district. This year, as an example, we did lower our property tax levy by 4.6%.
I know the citizens are happy. The ones in the district, they're happy to hear about that.
Yeah, they definitely would be. I'm definitely, as a homeowner, am happy about that. But we could, of course, talk about that a little bit more detail because there's a nuance to dealing with the county and the township portion of it where they offset our increase or our reduction. They increase our EAV portion. So technically, you won't see a reduction in amount. But the actual amount that we try to levy against your property tax, our rate, is going to go down. That's the only thing we can control is the rate portion of it. But they've increased the EAV, which we have no control over. So even if you see an increase, it's not because the board itself voted on it. It's something that the township and the county assessors decided to do on their end with reassessing our properties, increasing the value. My house, as an example, went up 97%, which the way the formula works, it would come out to about a 33% increase roughly. But so you'll see it won't be a 33% increase for you if you live in the Falls Park District. You'll see that savings that we did provide with our tax levy this year. So, I mean, it won't be as bad as much as a steep of an increase over the previous year, but you will see some increase. And the rationale that the county and the township gave was that more people are selling in Lake Bluff, Lake Forest, and they're buying in North Chicago, which is why they increased our value. Which to me, why would you do that to a depressed community that is trying to get itself on its feet? Where you have communities that have a lot more money than us, why would and lower theirs versus ours? So in a sense, the few homes that we have in Lake Bluff under the Falls Park District will see a reduction in their amount that they pay to us. We have a house right now that pays about $53,000 to the Park District alone, which is great for the Park District, but they're not going to pay that much. They're going to pay less next year. And unfortunately, a lot of us that live in North Chicago are going to have to foot that bill in a sense.
Mm-hmm. We always talk about a combination, I guess, leadership and also strategic planning.
Absolutely,
it all works together, right?
Yep. And it's in the Park District. We're working on a strategic plan right now. So we're working with Greg Petrie, who used to be the executive director for Waukegan Park District. And a lot of people compare us to Waukegan Park District, which is a much larger district. They're about 4 times the size of Falls Park District, both in population and also in the amount of EAV or taxable land that they have. So we brought him in. He's actually doing 2 different plans for us. He's doing one at the golf course to help lower the cost there, so we can actually make money through the golf course, which we haven't done in almost over 10 years now. And then also to work with our strategic plan in order to say, how do we strategically place our district to serve the needs of our community and also provide great services at an affordable cost. We subsidize a lot of our different programs. I'll use our football as an example. It is our most expensive program. It's $225 if you buy an early season, an early bird special. It's $275 if you pay late or in the right beforehand. So if you buy after, do you believe it's April 30th, you have to pay the full price of it. But that is still comparatively cheaper than Waukegan, Zion, and every other Park District program that we have. A lot of those programs are already privatized, which means a private organization or the parents have to do it. We are not that way. It's all under the Park District. So the vans that we use, the gas, the employees that support the program, all of that is covered by the Park District. So those are all subsidized, even though our costs go up every year. And it was last year, it was the first time we increased that fee in almost 10 years. So, of course, I understand people were upset about that, but some of that cost was needed to go up. And then even we've worked with Stretch from Stretch's Bar and Grill, Carlos Smith, and a few other people throughout the community helped donated money to the Park District to help as scholarships for the kids. So they were putting up $100, and the parents would have to pay the remaining portion of it, so the $175 or whatever they had left over. To pay to the Park District, and then they would cover that other $100. And they even provided some of those scholarships to our cheerleaders as well, which they also are part of that program. They go into both football and also our basketball programs.
While you were a trustee on the library board, there were not too many opportunities for expansion. Right? They're locked in there.
So we are landlocked the library is landlocked. The center of town for North Chicago, so we're City Hall, the library, the Park District, it was swampland. So when it rains, that's why it's always water drenched and soaked there because it is swamp. So at the library, we had to replace our front doors every 3 years, roughly once every 3 years. So it was the first time, first year or so I was on the board, we had to replace it, and there was a second time as well. Because of the way that the land is beneath us, it sinks in a sense. So we have to completely replace those doors regularly. And even at the Park District, we're going through that right now. We're about to replace the doors, something similar as well. But to build on top of us, we wouldn't have been able to do it effectively because we would run into some of those same issues where it would be more weight. We would sink a little bit more every so year, and then directly behind us was an actual lagoon at the time, so we couldn't expand there. And then to the north end of the library, there was a lagoon. Directly behind us, to the west, was a Comcast facility, which was given to Comcast by the city council. Way back. Well, it was sold, but it wasn't. It was originally library property.
Okay.
The city appoints the library board members. So they had the authority to do it,
Right.
but they did give it to the to Comcast at the time. I'm not going to go back and try to fight something from the 90s, but it's something that we definitely see the ramifications of today.
Wow. Now Comcast is leaving the area, and going to, I think, Elk Grove Village and another city. But anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
Now, you're active in all these different boards and so forth. Let's just touch on the schools. We have North Chicago had 10 schools. There are 5 schools. Let's see, Hart School, Novak King, Yeager, Lindbergh, and South are no longer under auspices of the school. There's only 5 schools left, and that's because of the decrease in enrollment. I guess.
So we've seen not just in North Chicago, but Lake County and the state as a whole has seen a reduction in our population.
Okay.
There's been at the last 2 or 3 censuses that we have had, which is we're going through one now, Census 2020.
Okay.
We've seen a reduction in our congressional representation. So when I was a kid, we had 21 congressmen. We are now at 18. So we are consistently losing one. We are potentially going to lose 1 to 2 additional congressmen this 2020 census, which is why the city's really pushing it. Yeager is currently a charter school that's operated by Learn. South School is operated by Youth Build. So those 2 schools are being used currently, at least currently being used. Of course, we still have the issue with the decreased population, which means less money coming into the city, the park district, the school district, the libraries, etc.
Yeah.
You have Novak King, Lindbergh, and Hart School that are currently sitting. So when I was on the county board, Hart School, there was a developer that wanted to turn it into senior living, and I got them the grant for that through the county board. So it was about a $500,000 grant, but unfortunately they pulled out after I left the county board. I don't know the details behind it, but they're no longer pursuing that. So that grant is no longer going to be afforded to them.
It was heavily asbestos, I think.
Yes, there's a lot of asbestos. The same thing with Novak King, because the Park District was originally going to buy Novak King and then eventually turned it into something like a field house as our financial situation improved. But due to the asbestos, it's about $1 million just of asbestos remediation.
Wow.
The Park District does not have the money to do that, at least not at this time.
Well, you mentioned that you campaigned for political offices several times, but in campaigning, though, it was very expensive, right?
Yes.
You had a heavy duty going door to door, flyers and media. You had to attend organizational events and speaking engagements.
Absolutely.
But that was a heavy chore for you, right?
Yes, it was. I mean, I always point to this one evening where I had 3 dinners to go to in one night. So I went to 3 dinners all in one night, trying to make sure that my name and voice got out there and what I was trying to do for the community.
Yeah.
It's just a part of what we deal with. The one issue that I still have today is how much money has to get involved with politics.
Okay.
You're seeing it now at the federal level with people running for president, where you have millionaires and billionaires that are putting tons of millions of dollars into their own campaign fund in order to essentially buy an office.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I've always been my largest campaign contributor. I'm not putting millions of dollars in. For my county board race, I raised about $20,000. Not $20 million. I wish I could raise that much money, but $20,000, and then I put in $8,000 of my own money. Compared to one of my opponents that received $35,000 from one individual, which made me the second target in the entire state, or second largest target in the entire state of Illinois. When I was running for county board.
In no way you can compete with that.
No, I mean, going into just the last month, so the last 20 days, it was $10,000 to $30,000. So,
Wow.
I had raised, between giving my campaign $5,000 and raising another $5,000, That was just the financial reality. Unfortunately, I didn't make it. It was a 118 vote loss. But I did, like I said, when I
only
ran
118 after 30,000 was placed against you.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was very, very narrow. But with some of these down ballots, like county board, park commissioner, you don't get a ton of people to come out to the polls. For example, when I just got elected last year, it was only about 700 something people voted, and I got about 560 something votes total.
Wow. Well, Proverbs 29 and 18 stated that, and I mentioned Proverbs. We didn't talk about you're religiously oriented too. You belong to what, Trinity?
Trinity A&M. I've been going there since I was a little kid.
Wow. It stated that where there's no vision, people perish.
Yep.
And so, and with that, what is your ultimate goal?
Honestly, my ultimate goal still remains from when I first ran for alderman. I believe that North Chicago, which is the community that I'm from, has great people in it, great assets, great resources here. We just have to bring it forth. We have to revitalize our community, and that's what I've continued to be focused on. Even now as a park commissioner, trying to make sure that all of our parks are redone. We did redo one park last year, Bulk Park. And then I'm actually currently working to make sure that Lake County Housing Authority completes their portion of Coles Park. And we just acquired property from the city of North Chicago to put a park for the first time since the 1930s in the first ward. So we'll be putting a park on 10th Street and McAllister in North Chicago.
Oh.
So this will be the first time we've had a park there since the 1930s. And I believe, it's something that we have to do for the entire community to make sure that we beautify our community and take care of it. I know it's not technically my job to go out there and pick up trash, but during the summer I do go out to our parks and pick up trash. Early on Saturdays and Sunday mornings. I'm off on Saturdays and Sundays. I typically go out there and pick up trash. Sometimes I beat our staff out there to actually go pick up the trash.
Wow.
But I'm normally out there picking up the trash in our community because that's what we need to do to help take care of it. We live here. This is our community. We need to take care of it.
Well, I want to thank you very much again, Commissioner Vance Wyatt, for coming down to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
And giving a reflection of your career, because you are definitely a person that you should know, and it's we're very grateful. I may say that yesterday is gone. Today is a gift. We call it the present.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow may never be. Mm-hmm. And when I look at you, I think of great men discuss ideas, have visions. Average men discuss events.
Mm-hmm.
Small men discuss things.
Yep.
So I had to put you in a category of a great man because you're a man, because you're always discussing ideas, which means that you have a vision, and we hope that you continue to have the vision that you have and achieve your ultimate goal.
Thank you, Dr. Brooks. I truly appreciate that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Community Focus. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.